What's up, everybody? Welcome back to SYFY Live from New York Comic-Con. How you guys doing today? My name is Andre, and we are about to talk about not one just the best animated series of the 90s, but one of the best animated series of all time. One of the best Batman series of all time. And of course, is Batman the Animated Series. Wonderful show, and we are lucky enough to have the producers and the voice cast right here talking about this series. So I'll let you just run through real quick and just introduce yourselves and your part on the show, although we all know who they are, but let's hear it anyway, right?
Hi, I'm Diane Pershing, the voice of Poison Ivy.
I'm Tara Strong, and I played Batgirl.
I'm Kevin Conroy. And I do Batman.
And I'm Loren Lester, and I do Robin, and I do Nightwing.
Eric Radomski, I'm one of the producers on the Batman animated series.
And I'm Bruce Timm, one of the other producers on the series.
And I believe before we get into this, I think we have like a clip that we're going to show, a little something to show off here, just as a nice reminder and also a way to experience Batman today.
Hello, boys. Get me an herbal tea and deal me in.
Scram, lady. This is a private. Why, you little... Poison Ivy.
It's been a long time, Harvey. You're still looking halfway decent.
Half of me wants to strangle you.
And what does the other half want?
To hit you with a truck.
We used to date.
Ah. What brings such a dainty dove to this dismal den?
Running from the law. And the Batman, too, of course.
Of course.
Likewise. You got it. Same here. You'd think one of us would have got him by now.
I've come the closest.
Are you kidding? I was the one who nearly...
Nobody's come closer to snuffing the Batman than me.
Get
out of my face.
The fact of the matter is, we each have an almost Gotham Batman story. I know mine's the best, but let's hear yours anyway. I'd say ladies first, but since we don't have any, we'll start with you, Pam.
All right. This happened last Halloween.
That's so amazing. Now, of course, the reason why I was split like that is because that was showing the HD restoration on that. We have completely got it HD for the new Batman, the complete animated series, deluxe digital edition on a Blu-ray with all 109 episodes coming out October 30th. We got it sitting right there. So for you guys, like, how has it been feeling to just know that you were a part of the show, you made the show, and then 25 years later, people are still loving it, seeing it as a definitive Batman series and a definitive way of showing these characters?
Well, I don't think any of us realized 27 years ago that we were being a part of something that was going to last the way it has and has evolved the way it has over time. But I think the reason it did is because of the quality of the work that Bruce and Eric put into it. I mean, the stories, the cast, the full symphony score, the hand-painted cells, everything about it was just 100%. And I feel so lucky to have acted with such wonderful actors.
I love getting the reactions from fans at cons, and they say thank you for my childhood. Again, we didn't know back then that it would translate and still ring true this long, and it really does hold up, and the digital remaster is so beautiful. And I love seeing on Twitter when people are like, is it wrong that I read that Batman comic and heard you and Kevin doing the line? So it feels good to be part of that legacy.
And we've affected so many lives and the generations. There's the children that used to watch it, grew up and had kids. Those kids are coming to the cons now, and there may even be grandchildren coming to the cons. It is an astonishing experience. We all feel very blessed to be part of it.
And all of the characters in the show, whether they were heroes or villains, were three-dimensional with backstories. They're real, live, breathing people. And that's what any great work of art, that's what people want to see. And these guys back here, that's what they created.
That's what I want to actually get into is the backstories, because one thing that's interesting about this show is it kind of has an impact even going into the comics, because first off, this is where we found Harley Quinn for the first time. You also did a nice story about Mr. Freeze, getting a backstory that now is ingrained in the comics. So how does that feel to have this series then go back and almost retcon some of the characters or add new characters to the comics?
I think it's kind of cool because it's actually part of a larger history of how these characters evolve over time. People don't realize that Jimmy Olsen didn't originate in the comics. He actually was originated in the radio show, the Superman radio show in the 1940s, and he became like a popular character, and then they grafted him into the comics. So we kind of did the same thing with Harley and with Mr. Freeze's backstory. I mean, it's actually, we're honored every time something like that happens, when our characters or our version of them cross over into the original comics, because then suddenly it's like, okay, now they're legit. If they're in a comic, they're legit.
So we've had different iterations of Batman, TV, movies, but for a lot of people, and I've said this before myself, sometimes their favorite Batman is you.
Thank you. I feel so lucky. Are you kidding? It was an acting audition 27 years ago. I had no idea it was gonna ask. I am hated by other actors. I'm just joking. But I mean, it doesn't happen that way, You go to an audition and 27 years later, you're still doing the job. It just doesn't happen. But I gave everything I could to this role. I love playing this role. He's a complicated, dark guy with issues. So he's a lot of fun to play. And you are the most incredible audience in the world. The Batman fans, all of us feel about you guys, you are the best fans to play to. And when we cut to the Comic-Cons, the stories we hear from you about how the show affected your lives or your childhoods is so moving to us as actors to know that we had an impact on people like this. It's really wonderful to have been a part of.
For the rest of the voice cast, did you feel that way too, that you were able to bring something new to these characters that we've seen in books or in other movies before, but you guys are able to make it a very specific way with your performance to it?
Well, I created the voice for Poison Ivy for the first time, and that was kind of wonderful because I got to be the way the voice is supposed to be played, apparently, because it has continued to be so. And it's an honor to be part of this, and it's an honor to meet all of you. So I'm awfully glad you come to these things, because then we get to say hi. Hi.
So I was not the first Batgirl or the first Harley, and I consider it such an honor that I got to watch Arlene Sorkin originate this role, and she really is the reason it's so special. And when I first went into audition for the Batgirl, it's really the only show I do that's my own voice. And this iteration was so real and dark, and I think that's why it holds up, because there's so much truth in it. And when we were doing the show, I really felt like I was Batgirl. I was her. I imagined the moments in my mind, and I'm sitting in between him and Mark Hamill, and I could have died the next day. It was like the greatest experience. So when we get to come to cons and relive those experiences with you, of course we're really grateful, and we take very seriously the legacy of these DC characters, and I feel so blessed that everybody loved what we did. And you are the best Batman.
So I was the first actor ever to do the voice of Nightwing. So there was a lot of responsibility there, and I was very honored to be able to do that. But also, there had not been that many people who had done Robin, certainly not in the animation world. I mean, you had Casey Kasem, and after Casey Kasem, there was me. So I was able to create that voice for the first time, and then transition into Nightwing. And so that's something that doesn't happen to most actors, that you get to play a character as they grow through life. So that was a thrill to be part of that.
So great. And I think what's so great about this show is that even though it was a show that aired on Fox Kids, it's like it never felt like you were talking down to the kids or anything. You made a show, and I think that's why people of all ages have been able to enjoy it for this time. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very intentional on Bruce and on my part, along with Alan Burnett, Paul, and all of the creative team to make a show that we wanted to watch. And we had the support of Warner Brothers. Fortunately, Fox Network at the time only called us on broadcast standard issues once in a while, but we usually would take that as a challenge for how we could work around it and get away with things that typically we wouldn't. But the shows themselves were made for something that we would want to watch, and I think that certainly helped in the making of this 27-year legacy. So we're very proud of what we did and grateful that you guys appreciate it as much as we do.
It was very cinematic. That's what was great about it. Is like you guys were approaching it the way that anybody would approach making a really great movie. It wasn't like how you approach making a cartoon. The music, the look, everything was very cinematic.
Well, I think we're all very thankful for what they've done here, right?
Thanks, guys.
Well, I'm just giddy being able to talk to you guys about this. It's been so great. So thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, and also thank you for being a part of the series. Once again, Batman the Animated Series is now on a deluxe DVD, completely remastered, so it looks amazing. All 109 episodes. Check that out on October 30th. Thank you once again, the cast and creators of Batman the Animated Series. Give them love. And stay tuned right here to Sci-Fi Live from New York Comic Con. Coming up next, we got the Mortal Engines cast, and I believe Peter Jackson might be back there too, so make sure to tune in for that. And if you want to see more with us, tweet us at Sci-Fi using hashtag NYCC and hashtag It's a Fan Thing. Continue your fun here at New York Comic Con. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Jackie Jennings with SYFY WIRE. If you can't get enough of New York Comic Con, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel for news, interviews, cosplay, and so much more. What are you waiting for?